Manic Monday, we are back at you with another edition of this Move the Chains podcast with your man and your host, Sam McIntyre. We're doing well today, not like the 49ers. We'll get to them in a second because they got Stone Cold Stunner, baby. What an ass beating last night. I'll get into that game in a second. Two teams going opposite fucking directions. I want to touch on some other things. Cardinals Vikings playoff preview of the NFC yesterday. Great game. Just impressed with the Vikings operation, even though I'm a Packers fan. Just them as a whole. And then Arizona, kind of weird, and I'll get to them in a second. And then I wanted to touch on Eagles-Ravens. Could be, a preview of the Super Bowl. Could be what I feel like in both those instances. So, start at the top. Niners in Buffalo last night, and what was an absolute cool game. The snow game last night. I know some people bitching and moaning on social media. Skip Bayless, that want it purity, and they want it normal, and they don't see the great players, all this bullshit. You know what, Skip? Shut the fuck up. Here's the deal, okay, Mr. Baseless, because you have no opinion, and none of it matters. I like seeing games like that, okay? I said it last week, a couple weeks ago against the Steelers, and that's good football. You got to play in the elements. Everybody looks great in September, October, November. Great. When it gets colder, December, January, February, you have to play out in the elements. How many teams have won Super Bowls in the elements? The Packers, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Chiefs. These teams have been in the elements. New England forever. The Giants, Philadelphia. These outdoor teams have an identity, and they have a toughness and a wherewithal to have it. And it was just cool last night, Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo, their fans are crazy. Their fans are nuts. They're great fans. And they deserve a Super Bowl. Them like the Lions or maybe the Browns or the Chargers, they deserve it. There's 12 teams left that have not won a Super Bowl. Buffalo's in there. And as long as you got that guy quarterback, you're going to do stuff. But I want to start with San Francisco. What a season from hell they have been. Holy shit, man. When it rains, it pours, man, I guess. There's a lot of things to dive into. This team is just, they're ravaged with injuries. I get it. They had a weird offseason, a lot of the contract stuff. I was thinking about this today as I'm trying to drive around and think of what I was going to say. I had a lot of thoughts going through, mainly last night, too, during the game. Which, when it was like 5 minutes left and Mitch Trubisky was in, I'm like, who cares? But last night, to me, proved San Francisco's got to do a reboot. And this is the year from hell for them. And too many guys hurt, too many guys in and out of the lineup. Purdy, he's been okay, and he's a good player. This is not a Brock Purdy shit-on day, okay? It's not. But what I'm trying to tell people is there's a difference in a wide gap last night. Josh Allen, fits the part. He can play in that cold. He's for it, and he fits Buffalo. Now, San Francisco, on the other hand, yes, Brock Purdy's good. But the arm strength shows. It's not a great arm. And now they don't, what crazy to me is they went on the road to Lambeau and upset the Packers a couple years ago in frigid conditions. And last night, they looked like a ghost. They looked like a deer in the headlights. They didn't know what was going on. So I can't figure that out from my standpoint last night. But Brock Purdy, he's not, listen, it's like the Tua dilemma, I feel like. It's the same guy, same system, same offense. He's consistent. He gets the ball out. Great kid, all this stuff. But there's limitations to him physically. Not a big arm, not big enough. I get it. And we could, do this thing in the NFL. Let's pay quarterbacks in that. We got to pay the elite guys, right? Josh Allen, Lamar, Herbert, Joe Burrow, Mahomes. That's the standard, okay? And you can win games with Brock Purdy. And granted, they're going to play 8 of their home games in San Francisco, in a dome in Arizona, in a dome with the Rams. I mean, you play the Seattle, but that's it. So, and a lot of times when they play Seattle, it's been kind of January, like in that playoff game a couple years ago when they smacked Seattle. It's close, and then it got worn out. And then you played them this year on Thursday night where the weather was kind of okay. So, I'm just saying, when I watched that game last night, the Grand Canyon and wide gap between talented and Josh Allen's just the Grand Canyon. And Niners got a lot of rethinking to do. And you got to figure out, okay, what are we going to do with our roster? It's an older roster. You had the Super Bowl hangover. And I just watched Kyle Shanahan. And listen, I understand his offense is very creative with the run game and all the play action. I get all that. But they have not drawn offensive line well. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sitting here in my head when I go back to his dad, Mike Shanahan. He had great offensive lines in Denver that won Super Bowls. And now near the end with Elway, obviously. And I don't know why Kyle is so fascinated with receivers and all this. It's starting to remind me of the Colts teams with Andrew Luck. They kept drafting receivers to the linemen. And I know Kyle's a smart guy. But I'm telling you, his pride and ego is getting in the way. And I see this with guys all the time. I don't know what it is. I go to a shrink to kind of figure it out. But my point is Kyle's got to adapt a little bit. He's got to change. Because he's been thinking for a couple years we can out-scheme everybody. And yes, you have been doing that. But last night, what was that? You can't out-scheme that. They beat you up physically. When it used to be you used to do that to them. So, I get it. A lot of guys in and out, and they're just ravaged with injuries. It's a season from hell for the Niners. And they got a lot of question marks. What do you do with Debo? What do you do? And Debo looks slow to me. I noticed this last night. I heard this a couple weeks ago. Debo looks slow. I watch him off the line. And he's never been a great route runner. He's more, wide back or whatever they used to call him. And listen, I love to have Debo on my team. But we've seen the movie. He's been hurt. He's been banged up. He runs with a physical nasty. The Niners play like 1988 football in this 2024 world. It's just how it is. It's almost like everybody's trying to find 90s love in 2024. It's just hard to do. And I get it. And also you got to look at, you get overpaid Brandon Ayuk. You get all that nonsense going on this season. I think there has been, for me, with the Niners, a year from hell, because there's been a lot of distractions. Ricky Pearson got shot right before the season. And he survived. 99 out of 100 people don't survive that. He did. Brandon Ayuk, shit. Trent Williams in and out. Bosa. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I think Bosa got signed last year, but you know what I mean. Just a lot of continuity and weird shit going on in the offseason. Noisy offseasons are never good. The bad teams have it, and they can't overcome it. Even the good teams have it, and sometimes it's a little weird. Green Bay a couple years ago when they had Rodgers and the 2021 going into all that, weird. After the Los Angeles championship game to Tampa at home. So there's always been a weird thing with the Niners. I think you got to just put a for sale sign up and say, hey, come get our parts. Now, Kittle, I think he's still got something left. I'd keep Kittle, and maybe Trent Williams, we'll see. But Christian McCaffrey got hurt last night, and then I found out tonight, as I went out of the shower, going to record this, and I'm recording this side note with the Broncos-Browns game, and I'll give that reaction tomorrow. But both running backs are out. So what do the Niners do? I mean, they're just ravaged right now. They're ravaged with injuries. Brock Purdy's trying to win as best he can. I don't know what he's doing. So this team is just a season from hell, and they got a lot of issues. And Kyle Shanahan needs to stop doing personnel. Let people do their own fucking jobs. Let the GM, let the coach, and let the players play. It's hard to do, I get it, because the coaches make more than the GMs. I understand it. But this is a sinking ship going down fast. And you got to find a way. You got to steer the ship, brother, because this is going like Titanic shit. So, Buffalo last night, I wanted to get to Buffalo because I've been talking about San Francisco, and they got a lot of issues. Buffalo last night, to me, proved they're a Super Bowl team right now. Because of that guy at quarterback, Josh Allen, who I believe is one of my favorite quarterbacks ever to watch. And I've been a fan of Peyton and Manning and Breeze and Rodgers, all those guys. Big Ben. Those guys. Brett Favre. Josh Allen is in that group now. And he is so incredible to watch. And listen, for years and years, they've always told him, put the Superman cape on. And they've kind of strained that Superman cape. And they've made him do too much. And you can put the Superman cape on, that's fine. Like Patrick Mahomes. But you got to have some help. Every quarterback needs help. Like some more than others. But I'm watching last night, the Buffalo Bills finally have a run game with James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother, who's a stud. Was a stud at Georgia, stud in the NFL. Shocker. He goes to Georgia, he's a beast. Okay? And then you got the other kid, Ray Davis from Kentucky. Mean, just kind of a bowling ball. that kind of lightning thunder kind of duo in the backfield. And then you got these teams that, and then you got Keon Coleman now. You got rid of Diggs, and listen, everybody can bitch about that, and that's fine. But Stephon Diggs to me was kind of like Randy Moss near the end in New England. Was great early, great success. He loses focus, he's shippered, and then he goes bye-bye. And then he just kind of dips. And his head's not in it. So they got rid of that distraction. Everybody was bitching. Oh my God, they lost Stephon Diggs. They're fine. Okay? They're okay. They got that Keon Coleman kid who's an absolute character. Every time I watch him, he's just funny. But he's a great player. Could be one of the really good receivers in this league with Josh Allen, and they continue to get that rapport going. I don't think he played last night. No, he was out last night. I didn't see him. They didn't need him to do anything last night because Josh Allen had that run game to lean on, and that defense was getting at it. And listen, I've been critical of Sean McDermott. He's a really good coach. You know, I didn't love the 9/11 comments, this, that, and the third, and the Hamlin and all that. But he's an excellent coach, and he's adapted. You know, I thought he would be rigid, stubborn. Nope, he's changed his style. He got rid of the coordinators. That wasn't working out with Ken Dorsey. They shipped him to Cleveland. They bring in Joe Brady. He was there. The passing game coordinator from LSU and that 19 team that was loaded. One of the best football teams I've ever seen with Joe Burrow and all those guys. So it's just seemed a seamless transition. And like those Green Bay teams with Rodgers, I was thinking about this today, they, to me, are more physical. They've got a run game now. And, you know, I mean, Rodgers, the only time he had a run game and they went to the Super Bowl was when they went to the Super Bowl. They beat the Eagles in the first round, and they had a run game and a physical thing. So I think the Bills are legit. We're going to find out next couple weeks what happens with the seeding and all that. Because Buffalo could get number one, or maybe Kansas City. I don't know. Kansas City could lose any more games. I don't know. It's going to be fascinating. Now, they got Detroit coming up. And Detroit, I know, has been ravaged, but they got a mini bye because they play Green Bay and obviously that. So we'll see what transpires. I'm just so impressed with the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen is just, he's a unicorn, man. He's 101. Can't find anything like him. 6'5", 237. Big arm. Can throw that ball through the wind. That's what I'm saying. When you draft these northern quarterbacks, you better get a guy with a big arm. It does matter. Now, run games matter and defense. I understand that, but you got to make throws in the cold. And I'm watching Josh Allen thread it. Brett Favre, Matt Stafford for years. All these guys in northern divisions or AFC East or NFC East, you have to have a big arm. Tua, no. Brock Purdy, no. But the good thing with Brock Purdy is he plays, like I just mentioned, 8 games on, at home. So, in decent weather, in a proximity climate. So, that was what I want to touch on, the Bills and Niners recaps. But I also want to touch on a couple other games. I watched Arizona and Minnesota yesterday. One of the wildest games of the day. I really thought Arizona was going to take this game away. They were 19-6. I'm like, oh, shit, here we go. And then my boy Sammy Darnold came through yesterday. Sammy Darnold balled. And I've been a fan of his since USC. I love the kid. I love the gamer in him. He's a tough guy. He's a man's man. Tougher than a $4 steak. Midwest ethos. I feel it with this kid. And I've been a Sam Darnold fan. I love Baker, and I love Sammy. He's got my name, so I get brownie points for that. But Sammy Darnold looked good yesterday, and I am just so happy for him that he finally got a fresh start because the Jets was a shit show. Carolina was a shit show. He went to the Niners, learned from Kyle Shanahan. They loved him. They just couldn't pay him the $10 million because Niners got so much other contractual stuff going on with Debo and Trent Williams and all that, so they just really couldn't afford him. And then Kevin O'Connell gets him, the tall Sean McVay, and look what happens. Minnesota, my whole life, has been well run. This is not a poorly run franchise, an organization. They've been well run for years. And I just love what I saw from Sam Darnold yesterday. Didn't flinch, didn't panic, went through progressions well. I've always said this. The kid's got talent. He just needed a good situation, and he did. And listen, if I'm Minnesota, I said this a couple weeks ago or a month ago, they're in a real dilemma because J.J. McCarthy's got a second surgery. You signed Daniel Jones. I get that. But you cannot let Sam Darnold go out the back door. Now, if he wins 2 playoff games, holy shit, we got a different conversation. But as of right now, you ride the hot hand with Sam Darnold. He's balling right now. And with this weaponry and this coach and this O-line, which is better. Now, they did lose Christian Darrisaw, who's one of the better ones in football, got paid, and they got hurt, and it was sad. But Cam Robinson come in there, and he's played a really nice job. He's always been a good player, Alabama guy. Went to Jacksonville, had a good career. Kind of iffy, but, you kind of get lost and shuffle down Jacksonville. But very good player. Very good pickup for the Vikings mid-season to get that guy. Proven veteran, can play left tackle. Just protect the blind side of Sam Darnold. So, but the other thing I wanted to touch on was, God, I just saw the same movie with Kyler yesterday. This Arizona team is weird. Because they lay an egg against Seattle, but they beat somebody. They beat the Niners. But again, this comes back to what I've said for years with Kyler. And I defend him. Now, again, I'm not a fan because I get the talent, but I'm out on all the other shit. Kyler Murray yesterday, and he's a talent. And he outdueled Sam Darnold. 2 high picks going at it. But I'm telling you right now, you get this with Kyler. And I know he's matured, and I get it, but it doesn't seem like that to me. You got to show me more maturity. And I think Arizona's got players. I think they got dudes. I've been so impressed with this team. But as long as you got that guy at trigger, man, I just feel like you're missing something. And from the main position in football. And so I'm happy for Minnesota. Arizona could probably get in, wild card, maybe. We'll see. There's a lot to go on throughout the season. So last game I wanted to touch on. Max Lawson, I'm talking to you, brother. I feel for you. Ravens blew it yesterday. Justin Tucker missed some field goals that he really doesn't miss. But great job by the Eagles yesterday. I was impressed by the Eagles. Listen, I'm not a Sirianni guy. Everybody can know it. I'm not going to beat this dead horse here. I think he's trying too hard. He's trying to do the old, midlife crisis shit and just too much. But as long as he stays out of the fucking way and lets the coordinators run it, they got a shot. And I said this a couple weeks ago, they go to the Super Bowl. Now, can they play the Lions? And I don't know. I still would lean toward the Lions. If it's in Detroit, I'm leaning Lions. But if it's in Philly, I might roll with the Eagles just a smidge. Because they wear on you. And Baltimore's a physical team. Let's not kid ourselves. These are 2 physical teams going at it. But last night, to me, Lamar Jackson, there's something, I don't know what it is. They get tight in these games. And they're just sloppy yesterday. And for a Ravens team that's been so well coached in terms of just not having penalties and all that, and they just penalize this year. It's kind of alarming. And some years are weird and random. I get it. But it's kind of bizarre. Remind me of the Raiders a little bit. But Ravens are still a very good football team. They're going to make the playoffs. I'm not disputing that. Now they're going to have to go on the road now instead of being the number 1 seed like they were last year. But I still, would rather have their season than the Raiders. And it's still crazy. We beat them in Baltimore second week of the season. I mean, what a crazy year this NFL's been. So that's all I want to talk about tonight. Great weekend matchups, Thanksgiving and all that. Like I always say in my videos, hit the like, subscribe, share button. Stay tuned throughout the week. I'll be giving my postgame reaction tomorrow to Cleveland in Denver right now. It's going on. My brother, Jax Max, he's a Broncos fan. He's got his Skittles ready. He's getting his Juju ready. So stay tuned throughout the week. I got more videos coming up, and talk to you guys soon. Have a great night.